Hi, my name is Tony, and I want to tell you a little bit about my life. I was born prematurely, and I was also born with cerebral palsy. Doctors didn't think I would make it, so they told my parents that they should get a priest to read me my last rites. I am now 36 and about to be 37 in a couple of months. Growing up, my biological father was very abusive to my mother, physically, mentally, and he also sexually abused my twin sister. He was very controlling. My mom had to learn how to live life without him, which meant finding a way to provide for 3 kids. She did her best with what she had. She cleaned hotel rooms for a good while, and she managed to make sure we had food on the table and clothes, and we went to school. She later then met my stepfather, who I consider to be my father in every sense of the word. He showed us what a father's love should really be. He loved us, he protected us, and he cared for us. My mother and stepfather were two hardworking people who did whatever they had to provide. I admire them both for that very much. And I wish I could have told my stepfather that before he passed. But I'm sure he knows. I have struggled with depression for some years now. It came on about an early age. Mostly because I didn't really know where I fit in this world. I didn't feel like I had a purpose or like my life meant anything. So it kind of led me down this deep depression. I had a job. I was laid off. I haven't been able to find a job since. I didn't really do much that was significant, you know. So I just felt like, why am I here? What am I doing here? I don't know what other people's expectations were for me or if they even had any, but I had so many expectations for myself that it was hard when they didn't pan out, because it was like I keep trying for something that's never gonna happen. And slowly I got to a point where I stopped trying. I got to a point where I stopped caring. I got to the darkest point of my life where I wanted to take my life. I wanted to put an end to it. I didn't feel like people cared. I didn't feel like I mattered. I didn't feel like I had anything to show for my life. Like I was just coasting. I was just existing. I was not living. So, because of this depression, I made a plan to take my life. That plan was thought of August 25th, 2018. And the date that I had planned on taking my life was October 22nd, 2019. There's no significance in those dates. The only significance for October was that someone was pregnant and they were due around that time. And because my thoughts were everywhere but nowhere positive, my thought process was, well, if they have the baby, they won't have time to mourn me because they'll be so happy with this new life. I know, it's twisted, but that's how my brain thought. And I just thought I would be better off dead. So because of his accident, I was distracted, trying to help my mom in any way I could. So I didn't have time to think about my depression. I did every now and then, but not as much as it was before his accident. And even though I knew he was fighting for his life, I still was battling with the idea of me taking mine. Not as much, because I had other stuff that my mother needed help with, or I had other stuff to focus on. I was needed, and I wanted to be strong for her and help her in any way that I could. But when we lost him, November 8th, 2018, I kind of lost myself again, in the sense of you just don't know anymore. I didn't know what I wanted. I wanted to be there for my mom, but I was still confused and lost, and I just kind of didn't want to deal. But it was easy to put on a mask and not let anyone know how I felt or what I was feeling, and I feel bad for that, because in some ways I withdrew from a lot of things, family stuff, just things. I didn't do much to begin with, and the little that I did do, I started making excuses for. But my two best friends talked to me, prayed for me, encouraged me. And if it wasn't for them, for God putting them in my life, I probably wouldn't be here today. Because one made me promise not to harm myself, and I'm pretty good about keeping my promises. So it was important that I kept that one, even though it was hard. The other introduced me to a Bible study group, and at first it was just something to do. I wasn't going to get anything out of it. I was just going to hang out. Well, God had other plans. Slowly, that stuff started to, get to me. I had questions, and I was slowly getting interested. Well, one night I was struggling. I'm not sure with what. But my friend prayed for me. She prayed for me, and almost instantly I felt different, but I couldn't explain it. I took time to think about everything that was going on and what I wanted for myself. What is it that's making me feel like the only answer was to end my life? And there was no really good reason, of course. But that time I prayed and talked to God for the first time in a long time. I really talked to God for myself. I could pray for other people all day, but I could never pray for myself. I could never ask for anything myself, because in many ways I didn't feel like I was worth it. In many ways I was like, but if God wanted this for me, wouldn't He have done it? I just thought God was a fairy tale that people tell themselves to make themselves feel better. I didn't feel like He was hearing me. He heard me. Things were rough in our lives, and I never gave credit that God was the one that got us out of a lot of stuff. I just didn't believe it. I knew of God, and I went to church, but I didn't really accept God into my life. Well, that all changed, because I started going to that Bible study and started to hear things and question things, and it just changed my perspective. So I made the choice to give my life to God. Then I made the choice to get baptized. And now I'm living my life for God. He's opened up so many doors. And I'm hoping He'll continue to open more. I still don't have a job, but spiritually, I'm closer to God. I'm grateful to God for where I'm at in my life. And I'm also dealing with stuff from the past that never got dealt with, but it still affects me to this day. I just want a better life for myself, but instead of me trying to push through, I'm pushing through with God. And now I know that with Him, anything is possible. So that's where I'm at now. I have a great group of ladies in my Bible study that also encourage me and are very loving and, just help me on my bad days. I've been able to be upfront and open about my depression, about where I am in my life, and what my expectations are for myself. But I also have to remember that just because I want something, that might not be what God has for me. So every day I ask, let it be your will. So that's what's changed. It's been a great change. I'm grateful. I'm excited. I feel like I'm finally living. I still don't know what my purpose is, but maybe it's small things. Maybe this video will reach one person who is struggling with depression, one person to know that there is a way out. Even when you're at your lowest, there is a way out. If you're someone struggling with depression, I encourage you to reach out to a friend, because all it takes is one friend to support you, one friend to love you, one friend to show you how great you are, even when you don't feel it. Things can be hard, but we were never meant to do them alone. So, reach out. Suicide is real. Many families have lost someone to it. My family could have lost me to it. Now I am dealing with old issues and learning how to break bad habits, such as keeping things to myself, like not being honest with myself when things hurt my feelings, or just those simple things that we tend to think, oh, nobody cares. Well, if you don't tell anybody, you won't know if they care. So, reach out and love somebody. Thank you.